anything you say from this point forward is being recorded for the world to hear because it is not a private conversation. So,
Yeah. Hey,
but funny story, Taurus. So you're talking about being at the golf store and,
yeah.
you know, Greg's telling you prospect everywhere because I'm sure that's the way he was raised, as were we.
I
And
gotta
we
find someone in
always
here.
used to. Sometimes we used to have our Tuesday night trainings and we would go to the mall.
Yes.
Not, hey, look, that's
This
what
is
I'm
good
talking
stuff.
about.
And
This is
we
way back, way back. Yeah.
and we would go friendship farming at the mall, right? And
Wow.
our entire responsibility, I think it's really just because our trainer didn't want to train us that night.
Or didn't have
honestly.
anything prepared, one or the
Right,
other.
but
Who
she's
knows?
like, we're going to the mall, right? And so we went to the mall, and our entire job was to strike up conversations with random strangers and like
Wow.
engage with them and talk to them about who they are and who do you know and this whole thing. And I think our most favorite place to go. So Zach and I used to work at Radio Shack. When I met him, he worked at Radio
Mhm.
Shack, the dork that he is,
Wow.
and he got me a
Mhm.
job because
She needed one. She
Nice.
needed one by
Yeah.
herself, so I had to help
Look at
her
that.
out.
a
Zach,
job.
you
That's a
know
slick
Atlanta
way
when
to
you
hang
see
out
one, right?
together.
So I definitely got a job, but Radio Shack and Circuit City back then, they were big competition, right?
Well,
Mhm.
We pretended like they were big competition.
right.
I'm sure they beat us in all categories. But anyway, that was my favorite place to go. Like friendship farming was the Circuit City because they all worked on commission, all of them,
Wow.
right? And so we'd
Okay.
go and strike up a conversation like we were going to buy this $5,000 desktop computer, and we're asking them all this stuff, and then
once it came to the credit application, it was on.
we're not.
Hey, well, look. Hey, well, look, guys. Hey, for those of you that are
But
watching, for
who
those of
do
you
you
that are
know?
watching, hey, if you want those awards that are on their wall, if you want to lead trainings, hey, they're dropping dimes right now. So, hey, take notes. Take notes, guys.
Well,
I
it just
am.
reminded me. It was a fun time. And I think that's the whole conversation for tonight, right? And we'll go
Yeah.
ahead and get started and have that conversation. And as you guys join in and have your people join in, obviously we'd love to have them, and we want to encourage conversation while we're here. But that's our conversation tonight, right? Is just say something.
Yeah.
Say something to somebody. So you heard my Circuit City story and our Radio Shack story, and just we didn't know what we were saying, and we just kind of made it up and went along, and people were intrigued and recruited a lot of people. But I'll also tell you, when Zach and I first started in this world, we were in the mortgage business. And because that was the company that we were with, right? Mortgages, insurance, and securities. And it was still a recruiting and building financial services company, but we had mortgages too. And it was back in 2002. So the mortgage rates were crazy amazing, big refi boom from what it had been. So anyway, our upline, our leader, our fearless leader, our mentor, bought a bunch of calendars. I mean, like the 12-month calendars, right? Bought a bunch of calendars.
But I think the beginning
In
part of
like
this story,
April.
I was going to say, this is like March or April of that year. So we got all these calendars on discount.
She got them for like $1, but they were already old, and she got them for like $1, and she bought all of these calendars, and we sat in that office and we slit them with a razor, and we put a flyer in them, and we went to these neighborhoods that were no soliciting, and we solicited all these houses with our calendars.
We
and
went
our
to the
flyers.
fancy neighborhoods with the calendars and the flyers, and we dropped them off.
And that's just the way you do things. So I think it's fun, right, to have that conversation about today, because it's different now, because we have social media, and we didn't quite have social media before. They can only see us.
I'm just checking.
I know. I'll go back to gallery, and then I'll go back to speaker. Right. But anyway, we didn't have social media then, so we had to make it up, and we had to figure it out. And it was just, just throw things out there and see what worked and figure it out. But now with social media, I think sometimes we take our foot off the gas, and we want to be perfect because everything that we see out there in our world is perfect, right? All these people and these influencers and what they're saying and how they're saying it, and we want that to be us. But I think if we take it back and we just go say something to somebody and have these conversations with everybody, that you'll be so surprised at how magical your business is and how quickly it sprouts. So on our team, we talk about this all the time. We talk about planting seeds, and just because you have a conversation today that doesn't turn into something immediately or tomorrow doesn't mean it's a bad conversation. No is never no. So remember that when I say that, no is never no, ever, 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 ever. It's just not right now, right? So even if it doesn't sprout at that moment, having those conversations, continuing to water your garden, and continuing to have those conversations, they will sprout. So you will say something?
Absolutely.
Oh.
So yeah, I will. I say this in jest. I'm joking, but I'm serious. So there have been 3 times in our marriage or prior to where I was single. Follow me on this one. So I was single prior to our marriage. I was single when Kimberly met Jeannie and this business when she first started in the world that we're in now in the recruiting and building business. And now that Gail has gotten involved in our life, I am yet again single because Kimberly and Gail have been so busy having appointments. We have a shared family calendar, and if you don't use a shared calendar, I don't know what your family life's like. I don't know anything, but I love to watch those meetings pop in, and
Because
we
he's
can.
not on them.
But I'm on other things, right? So I'm dad duty. I'm driving kids places. I'm
You have
washing
your own
dishes.
appointments.
I have my own appointments, all those kind of things. But it's great to be able to see what's happening in the world with our shared calendar. So she can see when I'm busy, I can see when she's busy, and we don't actually have to talk to each other. It's amazing. You guys would just, you should just kind of plug into that. But I know we're going to talk about this in a second. But when it comes to just saying something, right? When it comes to generating activity, one of the biggest measuring sticks that you will have for the future success of your business is the activity that you have. Whatever that is, it does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be polished. You do not have to be, we're streaming. You do not have to be perfectly polished on social media to say something. You make a post, and I know you guys will talk about this in a few minutes because it's magical when you make a post and you just leave it there, and then responses come in and interest comes in and people start asking questions. Guys, you are in the world of the social media, blitz, everything that's going on out there. People are on social media every single chance they get. If they're at a job, at a job, and they take a break, guess what they do? They get their phone out. They're looking to see what everybody else in the world is doing while they're at work. So, the message tonight is say something to somebody somehow, some way. Just say something. And I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited to see what's happening on our team, Gail's team, and you guys, take it away because I just see it on the calendar. But I know you guys are working your butts
just
off.
wait, because we're pretty tapped out. So your calendar's fixing to start getting full too.
That's fine.
Just so you know, it's
I'm a good pinch hitter. I can step in and
Hey guys,
situation.
no,
we hear you.
you are the best. But I was just gonna say, I know, but I was just gonna say, man, things are phenomenal. One thing I do want to tell you is that, you're planting seeds, but also when you put out a message, you're harvesting a crop somebody else has started. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does.
But like there are people ready. The person you talk to today, it may take them a second, but if you say the word, you never know. They may be someone who is looking already. And guys, listen, we're putting all the chips on the table in the middle of the table on activity, prospecting, approaching contact, and presentation. We're going to have recognition based things. We're going to put out inter-team leaders bulletin. There's going to be things happen in the next 2 months that is going to blow mind in how far we've come. System that we're going to see that's going to change life for as you bring people into business, the stuff you the convention. It's just going to be exhilarating. And then all of a sudden have these people come from all different backgrounds that they're just ready. And you either need to be a 5-5 player or a 10-10 player. And what I mean by that is that, 5 days a week that you need to be talking to, you need to have 5 exposures on the product, five exposures on meaning a concept, and 5 exposures on, hey, you're an entrepreneur. What are you doing? Talk to us, talk. And if you just do that, you're going to have crazy stuff, because it's like if I knew I was, I don't know a whole lot about fishing. I know enough. I certainly don't know enough about going to Alaska to fish, but I'm smart to know that if I wanted to go catch the best salmon at the greatest times, there's certain times in Alaska to be there whenever there's a perfect time for those salmon, right? Well, the same thing's true here. It just so happens that right now they're jumping in the boat, people. They're jumping in the freaking boat. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. All you got to do, but that doesn't help you if you don't have a boat. It doesn't help if you're not on the water. Because if you're at least fishing, if you're at least on a boat in the water, a fish could into your boat. The problem is, people aren't going out on the lake. People aren't going fishing. I'm making stuff up all over the place on this one, but you get what I'm talking about, and I know it. I mean, listen. If you see your leaders out working like madmen, hopefully that meant something to you. I mean, I am not on my front. I'm in Locust Grove, which took me. Did not know that the presidential debate was in Atlanta, and I drove through downtown down here. It took me 3 hours. I'm at a kid table doing my dead level best because I said I was going to. Billy and Zach are doing calls all day. James is wearing it out. Morris is working his butt off. I know, got that time. There is my thing of, hey, there is a moment worthy of your best effort. That's not a cute phrase to me. Yeah, I'm willing to go do it. Matter of fact, I'm going to read you something. This is a guy who came in yesterday. 74-year-old guy, used to be one of the biggest guys in not even Primerica, it was A.O. Williams. Wait, that's how far this guy goes. And then he and his buddy came in and got him to Atlanta. And this is a guy that had worked down under Dad. The guy never really knew me. But I had to even win him over yesterday. And I went through the whole day with him. And then he went through at the very end. He just sent me this thing. And basically says, as he's back in the game, he says, Jody, you did it. Jody, I know you're not an evaluator for you. I'm not an evaluator, but I've been in business long enough to know who's got it and who doesn't, the kind of person to follow or not, or is this the kind of person I shouldn't follow? You are more than what I thought. You're a stud. Now, that's because of what has happened that I became. This dude would not have written this to me 10 years ago. He wouldn't have written to me 5 years ago, but he certainly wouldn't have done it when we were all back together in WFG. But it's because of the moment. It's where we're at. And you can ride along and be a hero around. If you just jump in the water will take you along. It'll take you along. That's how good things are. I'm going to get back in here. Thanks, guys. I'll turn it back over.
All right. Well, I'm just going to say he wouldn't have written that 12 months ago, by the way. Happy anniversary. So you,
that's right.
But no, I mean, you're fantastic. You know it.
I'm always better when Zach beats me up. Zach knows. That's when he beats me up. I go recruit another James. So go do it, man. Go do it. I love it.
You give us all something to strive for. You're doing a fantastic job. Thank you, Jody. It's all fun and games, right? But the reality is that people are working. And are you one of those people? That's the question. So we think about an opportunity like this as an opportunity that just keeps coming. We're recruiting people every day. We have an opportunity to recruit people every day. So if they can start tomorrow, so can I, right? And I think that's really the downside of our mindset when it comes to that. We're going to talk about a lot of things tonight as we go through the next few minutes, but I want to graze over, and then I'm going to shut up, but I want to graze over the fact that we talked about planting seeds and we talked about harvesting. And the reality of it is, and Jody mentioned this, he kind of hit this, is that we're planting seeds, but we have no property boundaries, right? So I'm planting seeds everywhere, but they're not on my property. There's no guarantee that I can go back at harvest time and harvest those seeds. So I need to be planting seeds, I need to be following up, and I need to be harvesting my crops, or somebody else will. He alluded to the fact that other people are harvesting other people's efforts, right? And so I think that we have the best of both worlds, right? So if we can go out and talk to people, as many as we can, about anything, really, it doesn't even matter if it's, and we'll talk about details on the Wednesday calls about, ways to say things and what you can do. But the reality of it is you can't go wrong if you get out. If you get out of your space, if you get out of your comfort zone and you start to have dialogue with people, you can't go wrong. That's only a step in the right direction. And if you don't know the right things to say, then just talk to them about their kids, their family, talk to them about what's going on in their life, and then get their phone number, get a connection, right? You don't have to talk about a product. You don't have to talk about an opportunity. You have to talk about you. You have to talk about them, and then get their contact information so you can circle back to it. So, anyway.
So I want to introduce you guys to my dear friend, Gail Ames, and she is on this call. And honestly, she is the best I've ever seen at setting appointments, having conversations, stirring up curiosity, making random Facebook posts. I told her, anyway, I'll tell you that story in a minute, maybe. But all of that, to be said, when she sets appointments, she sets appointments and people show up and they want to listen, and everybody says, Gail, if you say do this, this is absolutely what I'm doing. So her credibility and her experience in the health insurance world, not necessarily our world, but an affiliated industry, right, is second to none. But I want to take it back from that, and I don't want to talk about it being so professional and such, from that credibility perspective. And I just want you to hear, Gail, I want you to tell them a little bit about your story, a little bit about your background, but ultimately, how are you setting so many appointments? Because you, out of everyone on our team, I put it out on our WhatsApp. I don't know if I put it on everyone's WhatsApp, but just this week, I have 15 appointments scheduled with Gail, not with Gail's team, with Gail, literally with Gail. Right? 15 appointments. And the majority of them are all people that are looking for an opportunity. Mm-hmm. And every single week, even if I have nothing on my schedule, I know I'm going to be busy, because at some point in time, Gail's going to be like, hey, and she's going to she always group texts me with them too, which is great, because I think it kind of introduces the whole conversation. But tell them a little bit about your background and maybe how we know each other. And then let's just talk about what you're saying, because it is magic. I know it's not magic, but people think it is. So what's your magic?
I really don't put a lot of thought into it, actually. It's kind of funny. But no, I mean, so my background, we'll start with that. So I met Zach and Kimberly a solid 20 years ago. We met working for a company that very similar to HGI. But the leadership of that company, they tried to be a Hubert, but they didn't have the same character. So they ended up, egos kind of got in the way, and they parted ways. So, we had put a lot of heart and soul and blood, sweat, and tears into that company. And when it went away, we were just like, okay, now what? So I settled into health insurance. Zach and Kimberly continued in the financial services world, but I settled into health insurance, and had a pretty good, well-oiled machine, kind of. I still do, obviously. I still do that business, but I have a team of people there. Also, my daughter Jade is one of them, who's also on our team, because of course I told her she had to get appointed with HGI also. And she told me that your appointment this afternoon went really well too. So
it did, yeah, it's fantastic.
But
you have a new teammate, by the way.
So I do have some industry professional relationships that I've planted some of those seeds with, about, regarding Hedgeman Group, because doing health insurance, this is a perfect complement to, we've already got the clients. It's just a matter of expanding on that conversation. So health insurance brokers are great people to recruit if you get an opportunity to talk to them. So yeah, I mean, I still do my health insurance business. I do individuals, I do, small businesses. And then not quite a year ago, Kimberly invited me to go to the Top Gun event in Vegas. And I went actually begrudgingly because I thought, okay, fine, I'll go. I'll tell her thanks, but no thanks. It's not for me. My health insurance business is going really well, and everything. And so,
got
and I
her.
was here, so because
I got you.
yeah, we maintained that friendship after, all of these years. And I thought, well, at the very least, I'll be able to see my friends, right? Zach and Kimberly. So I went, and it's so much of a better foundation and a well-structured company than where we started. So walking in, I kind of got excited again. And then I was just like, okay, I think I can add this now that my daughter's coming back to work with me, and that frees me up some time and everything. So I thought, you know what, I think I actually can fit this in. Got through open enrollment last year. So I really just kind of started working it at the beginning of this year. And, had a couple trips, in there.
A couple of trips too. Let's talk about this. You went to Cabo and Barbados and Europe, and have there been more since January, or just those?
No, that's it. I got to tap the brakes for a minute.
I mean, Orlando with us, but
Cabo and Barbados were insurance related trips. They're trips that I qualified for. Cabo was Allstate is one of the carriers that I write some of their health insurance products, and so out of 30,000 agents appointed at Allstate, they took the top 50 producers and their spouses or plus ones to Cabo for a few days. So that was a trip that I went and planted some seeds there with some of those industry professionals. Then Barbados was my broker. That was just specifically our broker. It was the top 50 there and their plus ones. So we went to Barbados for a few days. Then Italy and Greece was just something that we planned with friends, but of course I was there working on recruiting some, one of the husbands there. So that it was 3 couples and everything. So somebody that my boyfriend went to high school with. So I was in the process of recruiting him while we were there too. But coming back from those trips, I just new focus, new energy, being recharged again. It's so necessary. You got to do that every once in a while. And went to work, and the last couple of weeks have been pretty busy. Then there was a couple days ago, where around, I don't know, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I was able to just go hang out at my pool. I shut it down early, thought I'm gonna relax a little bit for the day. So I made this post on Facebook, something along the lines of how this is one of the best things about being self-employed and working remotely, is that you can kind of take a little afternoon off and recharge. And so I posted a picture of myself my feet by the pool. And and then I mentioned in the post, I also said, who wants to work with me? And I didn't even really think that it would. I thought, a person or two might ask about it. My phone and my Facebook Messenger and everything just started blowing up. It was eye-opening to me at how desperate people are for an opportunity.
Not from the industry.
What's that? Yeah, no, not from the industry. I mean, they were friends of people I never would have even suspected would be interested. I never would have friends of mine that I wouldn't have even necessarily approached about this business. One of them, she's one of my triathlete friends. She works in IT. There were some industry professionals, but another one was the daughter of a high school friend that we're friends on Facebook, but I haven't seen her since high school. Her daughter's on maternity leave right now, and wanting to be able to do something from home. And she's had her life insurance license in the past, so she's going to look into getting that again. Another friend of mine, she was an FBI agent. She what did she head up? She led the FBI's child exploitation task force for 20 years, and had retired from there. And she also has a nonprofit helping the victims of human trafficking get back into life. It's called Innocent Warriors, if you ever want to look it up on Facebook. But at any rate, so she's looking for something new to do as well. And she said, I know Gail and I trust Gail. And for somebody who psychoanalyzes some of the worst people, that was significant to me. You know what I mean? She's somebody who makes a difference in this world for sure. And you know, for her to say, I know Gail, I trust Gail, and so I'm looking for something new, a new opportunity. So I'm really excited about having those meetings with her. But yeah, we just had a bunch of meetings, and just all these people just kept reaching out, and I couldn't keep up. Finally, around 8:30 in the evening Central Time, knowing it was 9:30 Eastern, Kimberly's time, I was just like, I'll just text her in the morning with you know, anybody else. But to me, it is pretty easy setting appointments, and it's not, I just don't overthink it. You just keep it simple, because first of all, we have the best teachers in this industry right here at our fingertips. All I do is I just give them the guidance, and you know, people want guidance. They want to be told what to do, basically. So if you just tell them, you've got to meet, you know, that's all I say. You have to meet my friend Kimberly. You know, we need to talk about this. I'm going to tell you more about the opportunity. Or if it's an appointment, you know, if it's like a meeting to take an application or to do an FNA, you know, same thing. I'll just say, hey, I want you to meet my friend Kimberly. She's the expert. And I'll do a group text. And I'll say, Kimberly, meet, you know, John or whoever it is that we're talking to. And do you have some availability next week? And then she and they start throwing out times, and we nail something down. It's really very simple. It doesn't have to be difficult.
I think you said so many things that are so important for everybody to hear. So first of all, take it all the way back to the very beginning. Yes, we knew each other, right? And we'd worked together. We were never on the same team.
No.
Gail wasn't on my team. I wasn't on hers. We just had mutual respect because we loved each other and had a great fun on the trips that we went on and enjoyed each other, right?
Lots of fun.
And then you know, that company broke up, right? They had their big divorce and went away and did their own thing. And Gail and I stayed friends, but Facebook friends, right? Because she's St. Louis, I'm Charleston, and
she stayed with Dad. We went with Mom.
Yeah,
kind of the way that works.
She stayed with Dad. We went with Mom. We literally divorced in different parts of that organization for a minute. But ultimately, that's funny.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
I try. So.
You know, we stayed friends, right? We stayed in contact. We stayed in connection. That's an amazing thing about social media. She never reached out and tried to recruit me. I never reached out and tried to recruit her until HGI came along, right? And then I was like, okay, who do I know that was amazing before? Who do I know from that world? And Gail was at the top of my list. And I talked to her for a really long time before she ever even joined our team. So hear me when I say this. And it was a little different because she knew I was hitting her between the eyes. I was like, Gail, you already do this. So you already have a license. Why are you not coming to work with me? And she kept being like, I'm so busy, la, la, la. And so then we would have our little Facebook dating for a long time. And I love you, I mean it. Your posts are great. My posts are great. Like, you know, we'd chat back and forth. But it's important for you guys to know that is planting seeds. Sometimes they sprout really quickly and sometimes they take a really long time, right? So planted those seeds for a minute because we were in HGI for a long time before Gail actually joined, but I'm looking at it right now. You joined January 23rd, 2019.
Yeah.
Is when she officially signed up and she's like, fine, whatever, right? I will join your team. And I'm like, yes, I got one.
And then I did nothing.
She did nothing. And if you guys don't know me, then let me introduce yourself to me. I'm not a high pressure salesperson, right? Like I'm going to drip on you. I'm going to poke you. I'll probably poke you between the eyes, but ultimately it is what it is. I still love you. You could never do anything here. And, you know, I still won because I recruited you, but ideally, like we all win because we do something, right, together. And so, you know, I kept asking, kept saying, just at these different random moments. And it was always, no, I'm always busy. It's always health insurance. And one day I just said, listen, if you come to Vegas and this was last Vegas, right, for our conference last year,
Last August.
2023. So she had been in the company for 4 years. Hear me when I say that. I probably talked to her for 4 years before that, and she'd been in the company for 4 years. And 2023, I'm like, Gail, if you'll just come to Vegas, I will pay your way to go to Vegas because I believe in you that much. I'm not paying for you to stay at the Venetian. You're staying at a cheap place across the street. That's the truth. I was
Had
like,
to walk.
this place is like $25. That place is like $250. You get the $25, but it's
Treasure
easy.
Island, yeah.
There are no roaches. It'll be fine, right? But I will pay for you to come to Vegas, and if you come and if you listen, and if you pay attention, I promise you, I will never harass you again. I just don't think you have any idea what you're saying no to. And it was worth it to me to say, here's your hotel room, come see me for a few days. We'll have fun regardless, like you said. And
Yeah.
and that's what happened. And now fast forward, right, to I guess a year almost, not
Right.
even, right?
Yeah.
A year
Yeah.
later. And I promise you, her business is exploding. And what you guys are going to see over the next couple of months coming in from her is absolutely unbelievable. Some of it is coming from her health insurance world and her connections there. And just knowing that people, they already have a license, they already have the clients. Why not add this too, right? That's a big conversation. But
Right.
honestly, the majority of the business and the majority of the teams that she has growing right now, they're all organic, right? When those health insurance people finally wake up, because they're professionals, they're agents. James could tell you about that all the time, right? Like trying to recruit agents. Like,
Yeah.
you might
Well,
get,
I mean, look at Gail.
yeah, James.
Case in point. I mean, 2019 is 2024. Where you been, Gail?
She's been
No
an
offense. I'm
agent.
sorry to be
Agent.
direct, but it's just
Missing out.
Yeah.
But it
I
was,
mean,
it
but
was,
that's
it was, it was the strangest things. It was really almost like the stars and the moons. It was all aligned because not only did from that Facebook post, I get, a ton of interest, and just, some people I still need to follow up with because they said they were interested, but, I haven't heard anything more. So, there's still more that I'm going to try to cultivate from that communication, but also, other people, industry professionals that I had talked to at the beginning of the year, like January, February, all of a sudden just popped up out of, literally out of nowhere. Like it had nothing to do with that post. It's like same 24-hour time span. They pop up and say, one says I need to write some life applications. Another one says, I've got like, what do we have? Like, I think 5 people on a meeting is that Monday? No, that's tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. And
Monday I'm not working, remember?
yeah,
It's
that's
like,
right. I know. Very
I
disappointed about
haven't
that,
talked
by
to
the
you in
way.
a month, but I'm in and I have 5 people that want to talk to you. So when can we do this? Out of nowhere.
Yeah. It just, like I said, I think the stars and the moon just aligned or something. I don't know. It was bizarre, but I'll take it.
But it all comes from planting those
Activity.
seeds. And that's kind of the point of the conversation. If we never say anything and we never open our mouths and we wait for the perfect time or the perfect moment or the perfect thing to say, then it's never going to happen. So regardless of what we do, regardless of what we say, we need to go out there and we need to say things. And you guys, a lot of you are, this is what you do all day, every day, right? A lot of you lead some pretty amazing lives and have some great moments. Post about it because other people don't, right? They're in their 9-to-5 job every single day. And when they see you at the pool at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday, they're like, something's wrong here. Like, I need to do. Gail has been to Barbados and Cabo and Europe this year and Orlando since January. And now she's at the pool. What am I doing wrong? Right? So post about those moments that you guys are proud of and that your life has. But ultimately, whether you post about it, whether you talk to people, whatever you do, have those conversations, plant seeds. It does not have to be something magical. It can be something silly. It can be something flippant. It can just be something super simple. But whether you're at Circuit City, like I was, right, back in the day when I first started going out friendship farming and trying to figure out who people are, or you're posting on social media because that's the new friendship farming,
Mhm.
Just do something so you can have these conversations. But ultimately, if you want to win in this world, and I think we all do, or we wouldn't be on this call at 8:45 on a, what is it, Thursday night, right? If you want to win in this world, open your mouth and say something. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. Just talk to them, have conversations. We had a guy on our team. He's actually still on our team, but he's a little older now. But one of my most favorite people in the world. Funny little dude. Like he,
I hope he never watches this video.
well, I would tell him just
He's a little older, funny little dude.
I would send him the video with the clip cut out. But funny dude, like so funny. Anyway, he and Zach are kind of twins, right? Like
Yeah.
bald guys. But anyway, we were in Atlanta at one point in time, and he's our parents' age now. Still, obviously, he's our parents' age. So he was older than us, right? But he was on our team and he was working with us, and we were walking down the street in downtown Atlanta, and downtown Atlanta is not like any other big city you've been to, right? Some of them are super fun and warm and fuzzy, and restaurants and bars everywhere. Atlanta's like a concrete nothing, right? Like streets and people that might make you feel a little nervous sometimes. And you're just like, where am I? What's going on? And he looked at us, and we were having this conversation because we'd had an awards dinner or something at the Steak and Ale, because that was way back when too, when there was still one out there.
Yeah.
And he was like, listen, he goes, everybody wants to be talked to. And I was like, whatever, like, okay, I get it. Ha ha ha. And he was like, no, seriously, watch this. And he literally crossed the street in Atlanta, which you don't do other than at a red light. And it was not at a red light. Crossed the street from one side to another, walked over to this lady and her daughter, probably, I don't know, 40 and 20 at the time, maybe for them. And one of them had a rose. And he looked at her and he was like, hey, can I smell your flower? We were
Now,
just like,
knowing full well in today's day and time, he might get punched. But this was a long time ago.
Weirdest moment ever in the history of the world, right? And I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe that you're doing this. And he was
She
like,
stuck
oh,
it out
watch
like this.
And she stuck it out like this.
Way away from us.
And then he started laughing, and he was like, hey, I was just telling my friends, everybody wanted to be talking, everybody wants to have someone to talk to or whatever. They started laughing, and I promise you, we were there for 30 minutes having a conversation. And it was a perfect example of what he said was everybody wants to be talked to. So everyone wants to be talked to. Not everyone wants to be sold, and not everyone wants to be recruited. Hear me when I say that, right? People have two major antennas on the top of their head that says, do not sell me and do not recruit me. But they all want you to talk to them. And I think when you do that, and I think you open yourself up to those conversations, and you have those conversations, it just organically happens. And people know that you're a good person, and they're excited about what's going on in your life, and organically that happens. So I want to open it up, and I'll stop this gallery or this whatever view I'm on, this speaker view. You guys might not see it, but I do. What is it? YouTube sees it.
Yeah.
But I'll stop this gallery view because I'd love to have some comments and some conversations. If you guys have some stuff going on in your teams, like what's going on in our team, then please share, because I'd love for you to have those different conversations. But I'll tell you, I can't say that Gail isn't magic, because she is, right? She's Gail. And as you guys get to know her, you will love her, and you will see how magic she is. And she will have one of the biggest, fastest growing teams in our organization by Vegas, I promise you. So mark my word, watch for her on the leaderboard. It's happening. But I will tell you that she's also very humble, right? And she, even though she's been in the industry for as long as I have, she says, hey, you've got to meet my friend. And she allows that third party validation, because at the moment I'm a third party. They don't know me. And I promise you, every single time I get on a call with Gail, they're like, well, if Gail says to do it, I know her, I trust her, I love her. Anything she says, I'm going to do. Gail does not need me on a single phone call, because she could recruit every single one of them without me, I promise you. But she still uses me.
Mhm.
And she uses me for her clients, right? Like right now we're splitting business, not because she has to have me, but because it just makes sense, right? It helps her in every single area. But in order to do that, she just sends a group text. So after she says, and Mary Kay's on her team, and Mary Kay's amazing too. She's in Montana. She's
Mhm.
going to start posting some jealous Montana pictures, right? Because they're pretty amazing. But perfect example. Like she and Mary Kay were talking. She's like, oh my gosh, you've got to meet my friend Kimberly. You should hear about this opportunity. I think you'd be great. And she group texts us, hey, Kimberly, this is my friend Mary Kay. I want to introduce you guys. When can we jump on a Zoom together and talk about this business opportunity? That is as simple as it is. She doesn't shy away
Really?
from the fact that it's a business opportunity. She doesn't try to sell them first. She's like, hey, you should come to work with me. Get your license. We can lay by the pool at 2 o'clock on a Wednesday. And it's kind of fun. It's kind of amazing. So anyway, James, what you want to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I just kind of want to go back real quick. The mentioning of planting seeds was brought up several times, and I think for people that are new to the business, would probably like to know, what does that mean exactly, planting seeds, and what specifically are you saying when planting the seeds?
Well, I would say planting seeds goes directly to prospecting. A lot of people think that prospecting is talking about the opportunity. It's talking about a product that we have to offer. But prospecting is actually just getting a name and adding it to your list. That if you look at the 6 steps that we go through in the business, prospecting is just growing your list. It's growing a list of people that you've spoken to, that you have gotten their contact information, and you have then a reason or the authority to come back around and talk to them. So the seed is simply that, that you are offering something, doing something that's interesting to them, right? Or that you are interesting to them, planting a seed that might grow. A casual conversation about football, about sports, about family, about any of those kind of things from a person that then you have a reason to come back around and talk to them. You can go to the planting seeds. I mean, there are multiple ways to plant seeds.
Yeah, I think there are just the like social media ways, right? Like dripping about traveling and my kids, like us specifically, right? Traveling and my kids and being on a boat and the lifestyle that we lead, right? Is dripping seeds. Even if I'm not talking to you, you see it, you pay attention to it, right? A lot of times people like it. Being silly, like I posted a picture the other day when I was at the dentist, right? Like my teeth all over my face. I had more people, because you can see who view your story, right? I had more people that viewed my teeth than probably viewed Reagan at this friggin' U.S. rowing camp in California, because people like silly stuff. So just being genuine and being who you are and attracting people through that attraction marketing, I think is part of dropping seeds and planting seeds. But I think when you get past that and you have a conversation and it is, hey, you'd be great at what we do, or I need to make more money, or I need to figure out my financial world, whatever those conversations that lead to that conversation, it's sitting down and having a conversation, right? Like we do. So most of our appointments, mine and Gail's appointments this week, they've been presentations, right? They've been conversations with people that are interested in the opportunity. They have not been sales presentations, because that's not what we're talking about this week. Might change next week, but this week, that's what we're talking about. And just because we talked to them today doesn't mean that they're going to join today. Like Gail said, there's some of these people that are popping up right now out of the woodwork that we did talk to them about the opportunity. And we talked to them about the opportunity back in January. And now they're like, hey, on Monday, hey, I'm joining your team. I've got 5 people. I told you I was coming back. I'm actually here now. Let's do this because I got to hire all these people, right? So just planting those seeds, staying in contact with them. It's not an everyday, like, are you going to join? Are you going to sign up? Are you going to do this? Or are we going to make something happen? It's just planting that initial seed and then staying friends with them and staying in conversation with them and genuinely being interested in who they are and their life and their family and their situation and liking their stuff on social media, things like that. But ultimately having the conversation so they at least know what you do. They know there's an opportunity, or they know there's a way to better themselves financially, whether it's through our opportunity or products. And, occasionally dripping on them. If it's like Gail, like when I see her, I'm like, Gail, you got to come work with me, but it's not always. Sometimes it's just, like I said, liking her post and loving her and seeing how she's doing. And then sometimes it's like, okay, I keep saying this, one day you listen.
I was going to say too, I just think sometimes it's not having a charge on it. They don't have to join right now. You're just talking to them. You're just presenting an opportunity, you know, and if you don't have a charge on it, I feel like then
People
they're
are
a
more
little more
attracted.
receptive.
Yeah, I can see that, and I think you're right on that. Because otherwise, it can come off very salesy or very pushy, or
We're
very
desperate.
or desperate, or yeah, or
Right.
like yeah, or you immediately you immediately become a recruiter at that point. Yeah. And I'm just curious too, and so you build rapport, you do the form method, clearly the form method, that's straight textbook out of the LFS. And from that point, is your main question, are you open to opportunities? And if the answer is yes, you're immediately just like with excitement, great, you need to meet my partner, Kimberly. Boom.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I mean, and you know, there's nothing more gratifying than seeing some of my recruits now in a better position because they've gone through their financial needs analysis also. And they're making better decisions, you know, with debt. And that actually one of them got out of all of her credit card debt. And she has a commission coming that's somewhere between 5 and 6 grand, you know, here any day. It's exciting. Her life has definitely improved. So I'm happy for her.
And it will continue to do so. You know,
Mhm.
I think that's what's so rewarding about it is not just, I think I love helping clients and I love seeing them pay off their credit cards and things like that. But when you come to work with us and you get that first commission and you really see and you really understand the opportunity you have in front of you, it makes all those financial calculators that you see online true and real, you know, and it makes it possible. And you're like, oh, 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 you know,
Oh, wait, I was worried about a $5,000 credit card. I just got a commission that paid it off in one single fell swoop. So yeah.
Are a lot of these appointments, are they, again, guys, I don't mean to take up the
ask,
floor.
please. I'm not going to answer. I want Gail to answer because y'all hear from us all the time. So
And I'm that kid that sat in class that raised his hand constantly. So
do
y'all
it. You
love
don't
me
have
or
to
hate
raise
me.
your hand.
I'll ask one more quick question. I'll let Caesar go. As far as are these people, I mean, are these kind of like clients from the health business that you're helping that basically once you help with this, whatever product you're positioning, you're then just coming in on the back end of the opportunity. Is that correct?
Actually, the majority of the appointments that we've had this past week have primarily been business opportunity appointments. You know, and then obviously the result of that will be that we'll do their financial plan also. But just so because you know that's a huge step. You need to experience what it is that we do. And the best, you know, I learn best by doing, you know, period. You can tell me 100 times and I'll remember about 10% of what you tell me. But if I do something, so if they walk through it and they can feel what it feels like to be a client, then that's when they really get it and they get excited about it. So yeah, they've primarily been recruiting, you know, business opportunity meetings that we've had so far.
Cool.
Awesome. Caesar?
Yes. Hey, hi everybody. I joined HGI on January in at Top Gun. So my first approach was start talking about what Index Universal Life will do for people, and the reason why is because I love the numbers, and then when I saw how can somebody get a pension without increasing their taxes, I was like, this is amazing. Everybody needs to learn about this. So I started calling my friends about my age, and I say, listen, you've been in this, I'm from Colombia, right? But I've been 30 years in the States. So I start calling my friends and I say, what is it? Listen, how long you been in this country? Is it like 10 years or 20 years? Do you have something set up for your retirement? Most people were like, no, you know, I had a 401k, but I spent it and I bought a car with that. And I realized that most people don't have anything in place. So that was my first approach, right? More like a sales approach, and I got coming into that. But then I started reading the LFS manual, and then I saw that he says we have one product, which is the opportunity. And then I said, how can I change that? So one thing that I did this month, and I'm excited about it, is I have a lot of people on WhatsApp. So you know that on WhatsApp you can create it's called a, I don't know if it's a kind of an announcement list, or is a no, it's a this it's not a distribution, but it's a I forgot the name of it, but it's something like you can put at least up to 250 people, and then you send one text and everybody will get an individual text. It's not a group. It's
Mhm.
I think it's
Okay.
called an announcement, or I don't remember any. Did any of you guys have ever used those?
I
No?
haven't. No, you're teaching me.
It is okay. So what happened is I have a lot of people in my phone that they don't even know that what I'm doing. So what I did is I did the first one and I took the A. So I put Alex, Amy, Antonio, and all these people, and I just saying something like said what you guys are gonna do on Tuesday at 7 p.m. That's it. So out of those, like 30 people reacted, right? Some of them, like I going to football night. Some of them I have the kids, but some of them I'm not doing anything. Why? So those people that told me why, I just replied and I said, listen, I started my business. I'm having my mom's a tremendous amount of success, and I need people that would like to help me with the expansion that we're doing. And some of them they say, what is it that you're doing? I'm gonna be talking about that at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. And that's why I ask you 7 p.m. So can you tell me more? That's what the meeting is for. Say, can you help me? I value your opinion. So out of those people, I got about 6 that actually joined the presentation that we did. And out of those 6, 2 people already signed up because what the focus was on the actually these are people that came with the license. So I'm excited about that. I have the fast start meeting with one of them today. So he was all over the IUL, how does it work and so forth. But uh, talking about sowing seeds, like 10 of them, apologize because they didn't answer before. Some of them is like, listen, I was busy, but what is about? So I have, this is not just the A, okay? But my point is that, and everybody is waiting for somebody to talk to them, like you just said,
Yeah.
And I like that the fact that we have to get out of the shell, and lose the fear of rejection, and
Yeah.
just let them know that we are in the process of building something amazing. It's nationwide, now it's international, and we need help. Who do you know? Maybe it's not for you, but I value your opinion. And that was about it.
That's awesome.
I think that's one of the best scripts I ever had, and it was from our leader when we first joined, but it was, who do you know, right? It might not be you, so I'm not going to say, hey, Caesar, you'd be great, but I'll say, hey, Caesar, you probably know exactly who I'm looking for. Who do you know, right? And by saying that, it's not a yes or no answer. It's not a no one. It's oh, my mom, my brother, my sister, me, whatever. And then you open that natural dialogue. So I love that. I love that statement. I love what you're doing and that activity. But ultimately, it's just activity, right? Just do something. I said this yesterday on our call. Gail just hired a new guy, and he'll be on, and you'll see his name too. But he's from New York Life, and he was like, I don't care if you go stand outside of the grocery store and you ask every single person that goes in for that entire day, if I could give you life insurance for $1 a day, would you be interested? He was like, I promise you, if you do that for one day, you'll make $10,000 next month. I promise you. And I'm like, it is that simple, whether we're asking if they want life insurance for $1 a day, or if we're asking if they want a business opportunity. We just have to ask. We just have to open our mouths and say something. And people, point in case to Gail, she has a great, huge network of industry people. But that post on social media the other day that set 15 appointments this week with people that want a business opportunity was genuine and generic and innocent and had nothing to do with financial professionals, right? It was just, do you want to control your life? Do you want to enjoy yourselves? Do you want to have what you want to have today instead of waiting until maybe you're 65 or 70 to enjoy it? And it's just as viral and probably more so than somebody that already knows it all, being from the financial industry. So you want to say something first, I think?
Yeah, I was just going to say we have people in the waiting room for the BOP, so we got to wrap this meeting up because it's on the same ID. But I think the moral of the story, there's a couple of them, but I think the moral of the story is don't give up on somebody, right? Even if they joined your team in 2019, they may wake up one day and do something. So don't give up on anybody. But also the flip side of that coin is don't wait on anybody. You've got to constantly be having a conversation and growing your network, and you'll surprise yourself, and people will surprise you in a positive way. So don't give up on anybody, but don't wait on anybody.
And don't quit, because they will say yes at some
And
point.
may I add to that, because this just happened for me with a couple people. You bring someone in, they may not get started, or they may get started and slow off, or maybe they just don't ever get started. It's going to happen, right? Here's the good news. They're still getting dripped on by emails from HGI every week. And I had a girl call me up. She joined. She was one of my very first recruits back when I first joined HGI back in January 2022. And she hits me up. She says, James, things didn't work out where I went. I thought they'd be better. I know a lot more about the industry now. And I'm getting those emails still from HGI. And I know you're still out there crushing it. Tell me more. Boom. And then she got back in.
Awesome. Awesome.
That's
All right,
awesome.
guys.
Great
Hey.
tools we have.
Zach, Cameron, can you guys make me host or
Yep,
co-host?
I will make you
I can let
host.
people in. Okay.
Thank
The
you,
rest
guys.
of you guys, thanks for joining. Good to see you, Gail. Thank you for sharing your story. All you got to do is send a group text, right, to your leader and get some appointments started. It'll happen. I
it.
promise.
And do
Less
a
is more,
Facebook-
right, kids?
That's it. That's it.
That and do a Facebook post and just say who wants to work with me.
Yeah.
Show